Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Tonight is February the 4th as I'm going through these games. Don't have a chance to go through all of them. Like I said, I'm working on limited time this week, but the ChrisBeCappinn Show will return to its morning slot on Friday. I'm tired, man. I'm going through it right now, if I'm being honest with you all. But I do appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Let's jump into it for Wednesday's slate. It's a big slate. Like I said, I didn't go through all the games. Let's go with what I got. So quick recap. I said I was going to take Cleveland. I did. They forgot how to shoot the basketball. I guess you can credit Boston a little bit defensively. Ended up taking Cleveland first half and full game. I think they scored like 105 points. Number one offense in the NBA. Could not make a shot tonight. Darius Garland missing in action. Evan Mobley missing in action. But it is what it is. We do cash Donovan Mitchell up and over his 24.5 points. We jumped on I sent out to the members the third quarter over 58.5 live as well at halftime, just because it started off so slow. And then the Lakers and the Clippers over is looking like good money right now. At the recording of this video, Lakers got 57 points with 7 minutes and 57 seconds left in the first with 9 minutes left in the first 7 minutes left in the first half. So that's looking really good. Hopefully people were able to get that in, and hopefully it ends up being a winner. That will make the night profitable, even though the bigger bets were the Cleveland and the Cleveland first half and full game. So we'll see how it ends. But right now, 2-2, down a couple dollars just because Cleveland were bigger bets than the prop bets. But neither here nor there. Let's jump into it for tomorrow. We'll start with a prompt from jaXon, as we always do. jaXon is your AI sports betting buddy / companion / whatever it is that you want to call it. jaXon can help you with the games for player props, sides, totals, NBA, NFL, MLB, you name it, right? So prompt for tomorrow, something that I was already on. I just kind of wanted to see what jaXon was thinking about it. And jaXon produced a winner tonight too, right? Let's see real quick. Yeah, clear winner, right? Yesterday's prompt was Miami, Chicago up in total. And jaXon said over. I said I wasn't going to touch that game. I think the total was 228.5, I think it was. The game finished 250. I'm looking at it right now, 257. So easy winner right there. Chicago is a team that plays no defense, but they can score the basketball. They shoot a ton of threes, and if you can't guard 3-point line, they will absolutely light you up. So yeah, jaXon went 1-0 yesterday. Nice little run that jaXon's still on. I didn't play Miami, Chicago over. Probably should have. But this game that I'm liking is Wizards and Nets, and I'm looking towards the under. Let's see what jaXon says. I already bet the under and gave it out. Let's see what jaXon says. So it makes me a nice little chart. It says that the total is set for 219 based on the analysis of both team trends and stats. I recommend leaning towards the under on the total, and here's why. So offensive struggles, both team ranks bottom 4 in the league in points per game. Wizards averaging 107, 27. Nets averaging 105, 29th. The offensive efficiency is a key factor in their low scoring. The Wizards shooting 43.4% from the field, 29th, 32.9% from the 3, 29th. While the Nets are slightly better, but below average at 44.1% from the field, 27th, and 35.4% from 3, 19th. Defensive trends, the Nets allow 112 points, 4 points per game, which is 13th. It says which is respectable, while the Wizards are dead last in defense. They give up 121.7. However, the Nets' recent games have been low scoring due to their pace and defensive focus. Both teams 14-4 to the under in their last 18 games combined, showcasing a consistent trend of lower scoring matchups. Head to head, the under is hit in 6 of the last 8 meetings between the two teams. Their previous meetings have often been slow paced and defensive oriented. Recent form, Nets are coming off a 110-98 win over the Rockets, where they held the Rockets to under 100 points. The Wizards, meanwhile, scored 124 points in their win over the Hornets, but have struggled to replicate such offensive output consistently. Pace of play, both teams play slower pace, which could limit the number of possessions and scoring opportunities. This further supports a low total So pick under 219. And I just kind of read the reasoning, right? Both teams' offensive efficiencies combined with their recent trends towards the under a slower pace of play make this a strong bet. While the Wizards' poor defense is a concern, the Nets' lack of offensive firepower should keep this game from becoming too high scoring. So yeah, jaXon likes the under, and I love that because I actually like the under as well. If I'd known, I never read the prompt first, but if I would have known jaXon liked the under, I probably would have put in a different prompt. Just so it wouldn't have been the same exact thing that I had already bet. But neither here nor there. That's what I like. I like the under in that game, and I'll give my analysis for it when we get there. So let's jump into it, man. First game up we got is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. Game will be played in Detroit tomorrow. This was a game that I kind of want to wait for the injury report. So let me preface by saying this. All of these games actually should probably wait for the injury report. Also wait for the trades that probably going to happen throughout the day. Trade deadline is on Thursday at I think 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So something to take into consideration when you're handicapping these games. Some of these players could be dealt any given minute. And yeah, Cleveland is one of those teams. I'm hearing that they're trying to ship Isaac Okoro. He hasn't played in the last few games. Not sure if Dean Wade's going to be a part of that, but he also hasn't played in the last few games. So you kind of got to wait on the injury report if you're Cleveland. They have beaten up on the Detroit Pistons, and Detroit should be pretty healthy in this game. Of course, no Jaden Ivey, but I think outside of Jaden Ivey, they should be pretty healthy. And they've beaten up on this team. They've actually beaten the Detroit Pistons 11 straight times. They're 2-0 straight up and against the spread this season. Both of those games went under the total. The totals are actually in the last 10 are actually 9-1 to the under. So whenever these two teams get together, we see under, and that's where the total is already actually moving to right now. I think this is open 237. And you see 235 on the screen. The line has actually come down from 6 down to 5 as well. So Detroit is taking the early action. The most recent matchup was just January the 27th in Cleveland. Cleveland was coming off a 3-game losing streak, and they bounced back in a really big way. They actually held Detroit to just 91 points in that game. So Cleveland, of course, having to travel second leg of a back-to-back. Before the game tonight versus Boston, they were 4-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 4 games. All of their wins had come by double digits, and they were 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games. Of course, that trend is over now. And you got the Detroit Pistons. 1 day rest advantage here, but this still is third game in 4 nights. They lost to Atlanta on Monday on a Trae Young game winner. And this is their 4th straight home game of a 6-game home stand. They got Philly up next. Detroit has had back-to-back really bad defensive performances, in my opinion. They let the Chicago Bulls hit 19 three-pointers against them on Sunday, and then they gave up 132 points against the Atlanta Hawks on Monday. So I'm looking at the game. I'm looking at the trajectory of the Cavs. They are 8-2 straight up, 6-4 against the number, playing on the second leg of back-to-back games so far this season. 7-2 against the spread when they're playing with less rest than their opponent as well, and they're 8-2 to the over, including 7 straight overs playing unrested this season as well. So the total coming down, maybe it is a tad bit too high, but a lot of trends kind of trend towards the over. You got a Detroit team that's also just 5-9 straight up, 7-7 against the spread as a home dog this season. So they haven't been as profitable as they were last season as a home dog. Recent form, they haven't really been playing good at all. They're just 1-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 4 games as home dogs. So you don't really like to see that if you want to take Detroit. I think Cleveland probably going to be a little motivated tomorrow. I just want to see what the lineups are going to actually look like tomorrow before I bet this game and see, make sure everybody's going to be in there for Cleveland. Detroit, I don't like what I'm seeing from them defensively. They really struggled to get stops, and against 2 teams that are kind of mediocre in Atlanta and Chicago in their last couple games. So don't like to see that as much. They have played the 6th strongest strength of schedule. Cleveland, I'm expecting to bounce back from, an offensive performance. So when I went to MoneyBaller, the thing that kind of jumped out to me was the over in this game. I think if I'm playing anything, maybe it's a first half over. You look at Cleveland, and I'll bring this up on the screen just so you can see it really quickly. You look at Cleveland, and specifically Cleveland early. I'm going to pull this up. All right. So let's go Cavs and Pistons. All right, so we look at Cleveland here, right? Second leg of back-to-back, third game in 4 nights. Pistons, in-season revenge, coming off a loss as a favorite. Double-digit in-season revenge, rest advantage, but it's still third game in 4 nights, 4 for 6. So the Pistons defense, I don't think it's going to be there. The Cavs like to play fast. I think we see pace. Both of these teams are also playing pretty fast, and you can see that right here. You got a Cavs team that's 6th in pace, Pistons 14th in pace, but last 5 games they're actually playing a little bit faster than that. The Pistons are actually 11th in pace, and the Cavs are 14th in pace. So that's the pace stuff. As far as the total, though, look at this. If we go through here and look at the over/under in the first half, look at the Atlanta Hawks. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 13-5 to the over in the first half, 8-2 to the over if they're playing the second leg of a back-to-back. You like to see that. For the Pistons, 8-6 if they're a home dog to the over. And if they have the rest advantage, they're 7-1 to the over in the first half. So first half over, the number is not quite available yet, but that's what I'm looking at. I mean, you can see the Cavs second leg of back-to-back, they still score a lot of points, 7-2-1 to the over on their team total. Same thing for the Pistons. If they have the rest advantage, 6-2 to the over. So I do think that this is a game that, maybe it slows down late. Detroit is one of the better fourth quarter defenses in the NBA. They typically play a lot slower. So I'll lean first half over. The number actually is not even available. I did check it. It's not even available yet. But in the same breath, I say that, I would also say, wait, because the total is dropping. So no need to run to the window if you like the analysis here and you like the over. All right, next game up. So first half over between Cleveland and Detroit. Next game up, Bucks and the Hornets. This line is 8.5. I do see some nines popping up as well. Total open 216. It's up to 218.5 now. And as much as I would like to take this one early, take the total probably to go up and over at 218.5, because I can kind of understand why the total is moving up. The problem why I can't do it is because you look at the injury report for the Bucks. They're really trying to ship Chris Middleton, trying to get Kyle Kuzma. If anybody who's paying attention to the trade news, and if they trade for Kyle Kuzma tomorrow, he's not going to be available for this game, and that hurts their offense, in my opinion, not having Chris Middleton. Also, Giannis and Dame are listed as questionable. I'm guessing that they play. They didn't play in the last game, of course, when they played at OKC. They could come out here and absolutely steamroll the Charlotte Hornets team. Now, Charlotte is back to being a dog. They've been home favorite 3 times. They've got smoked every single time, including that last game against the Wizards. This is the third matchup of the season. Charlotte pulled off an upset as a 4-point dog the first time that they played. I want to say Dame didn't play in that game. Milwaukee got their revenge in the next game as 8-point favorites, but they still didn't cover. They won the game but didn't cover. So you got a Charlotte team that is 2-0 against the spread in the 2 games between the Bucks this season. Both of those games went up and over the total of 220. And the second one actually went up and over 224 as well. So you look at this Bucks team, and this is another reason why I lean towards the over. They've just been pretty poor defensively, specifically on the road, and recently as well. We know that they've been doing a lot of traveling. They had, I think, a 4-game road trip, came home for 1 game, lost to the Grizzlies, then went back out to OKC, got absolutely mollywopped in that game. So they're on a 4-game losing streak. They haven't covered any of those games after, getting smoked, like I said, by OKC on Monday. They also had to travel their last 7 games, whether it's home or road. They've had to travel 7 straight games. Defensively, they've really struggled to get stops. OKC just scored 125 points. Granted, it was against their B team. Memphis dropped 132 on them on Sunday. San Antonio lit them up for 144 on Saturday. Portland got to 125 on them, and I could keep going on and on and on. The question you got to ask yourself here is Charlotte going to be able to score the ball? The answer is probably no, considering that they're not a great offensive team without LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. Charlotte is 3-7 straight up, 5-4-1 against the number in their last 10 games. They've lost all 5 games since LaMelo has been out, and the offense has been really ugly. They couldn't stop the Washington Wizards from scoring in that last game. They gave up 124 points to the Wizards. The Wizards hit 17 threes in that game, and they were a +8 on the board. So Charlotte's going to need to control the board. They're a really good offensive rebounding team. They're going to need to control the boards. I don't think that Bobby Portis is going to be available in this game. He's also on the trading block. Like, this game just gives me like pass vibes. Skip, next one. So yeah, like I said, I'm probably not going to play this one. If I'm looking for something, Maybe I, look towards the Giannis prop. Charlotte has not done a really good job of protecting the rim recently, but only having one center being Mark Williams. He's been in and out of the rotation, missing the second leg of back-to-backs, and then after him, Lord knows, you just got Taj Gibson out there, so it could be pretty bad, man. Milwaukee is the worst rated defensive team last 5 games, though, interestingly enough. Also playing at the 8th fastest pace with an average offense, about middle of the pack offensively. Meanwhile, Charlotte, second worst offensive rated team behind only the Orlando Magic, I want to say. Last 5 games, they're also playing nearly a bottom 5 pace. But their team total is like 105. I think they should be able to get to 105 against the Bucks, especially with them being at home. And I think the Bucks should be able to score the basketball as well. So I guess slight lean towards the over, but I would want to know if anybody's going to get traded. I would want to know if Giannis and Dame are going to play, and then maybe I'll make a decision on this game. But right now, it's definitely a pass. Next game, we got the Miami Heat and the 76ers. This is a game that I don't have too much interest betting the Miami Heat. I just don't. Them and the Chicago Bulls are teams that I just kind of so Jekyll and Hyde. I just kind of want to stay away from at all times. I will say this sets up really well for the Miami Heat, though. I think this is a little bit more of a Heat spot. I know both teams on the second leg of a back-to-back. I know that Miami has to travel and Philadelphia doesn't. So if you didn't watch the game tonight, Miami did win. They took care of. Miami lost, which is why you like them even more. They lost the game by 9 to Chicago, 133 to 124. And Philly won, right? So you got one team that's won, one team that's lost. Both teams on second leg of back-to-back. One travel, one don't. And B probably won't play. We who knows with Paul George? His name's also on the trade block. For all we know, Embiid's name might be on the trade block. There's no idea who's actually available for these players by the time the games are played tomorrow. This is the second leg. This is the second matchup of the season between these two teams. Miami beat Philly 106 to 89. It's a 2.5 point home favorite the last time that they played. And that game did go under the total of 212. Heat have actually covered 7 of the last 10 when playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. So you could say Spoelstra, got the blueprint for how to slow down this Philadelphia team. Does he have the personnel with no Jimmy Butler? I don't know. Miami plays really good defense one game. Next game, they give up 133 to the Bulls. I have no idea what to do with this team. Here's why I lean a little bit more towards Miami, even with the 76ers, being on the second leg of a back-to-back with no travel. This is actually 6 games in 9 nights with no rest for the 76ers. That's a phase spot. This was actually the same spot that the Houston Rockets were in tonight. And Houston ended up losing that game outright to the Brooklyn Nets. I think these teams are covering about 40%, less than 40% of the time this season. That says that you take Miami in this spot. Miami is 5-3 straight up, 4-4 against the number playing arrested this season. They literally alternated between wins and losses, both straight up and against the spread in their last 6 games when they're playing on second leg of back-to-backs. Another reason why they can't be trusted. The 76ers just is 2-6 straight up, 4-4 against the number when they're playing arrested this season. They have won 2 in a row, though, after starting the season 0-6 straight up, 2-4 against the number when they're playing arrested. So that trend that I just talked about, I actually do have it written in my notes. So this season, teams playing 6 games in 9 nights are absolute fade. 18-23 straight up, 18-22-1 against the number. They're also 23-16-2 to the under. 6 of the last 7 have stayed under their team total. So that says that Philly struggles to score the basketball tomorrow against this Miami Heat team, which kind of makes sense. Miami just gave up 133 points. Now, granted, they don't have any practice time, but I mentioned Spoelstra being able to, he could, like the 76er whisperer. He might be able to find something that can slow down the 76ers offense. So yeah, I think Miami's the right side. Will I get there? Probably not, man. Absolutely, probably not something that I'm gonna be playing. But just like I said, kind of sharing thoughts. Lean towards Miami. Probably just take them on the money line. Stay away from the 1.5. But this did open at 1, and the sharp money so far, early money, is coming in, pushing this to 1.5. Next game up, San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat. Game will be played in Atlanta. San Antonio Spurs and the Atlanta Hawks. Game will be played in Atlanta. This line open 4. It's moving to 4.5 right now. There is a 4 still available on FanDuel, and the total is on DraftKings, and the total is moving north. 240 at open. I see it up to 242 right now, and some 241s and a halves out there as well. So Fox is supposed to make his debut with the San Antonio Spurs. Bogdanovich is out for Atlanta. Clint Capella is out for Atlanta. Jalen Johnson, of course, is done for the season as well. Atlanta probably going to end up making some trades tomorrow. Granted, the guys that they want to trade are Bogdanovich and Capella, who probably aren't playing anyway. But I'm thinking about this San Antonio team. First of all, these teams have played once already. San Antonio actually beat Atlanta at home early this season. They were laying a 1.5. That game ended up going to overtime, finishing 133 to 126. It went up and over the total, of course, as well. I think it went over in regulation as well. The last 10 totals have actually gone over between these two teams. I think not the last 10 exactly. I think it's a lot of totals in the last 10 though. What was that number that I looked at earlier? Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. These two teams, when they get together, it's typically an over when they play. And that was one of the ways that I was looking at this one. 8-2 to the over in the last 10 are the totals in these games between the Atlanta Hawks and the San Antonio Spurs. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But you look at the Spurs, I mean, pretty untrustworthy team right now. They are 3-7 straight up in their last 10 games, 4-6 against the number, 8-2 to the over. Like I said, not playing a lot of defense. Memphis just dropped 128 on them. The Bucks dropped 118. Clippers had 128. Pacers hit them for 136. Miami hit them for 128. The Memphis Grizzlies hit them for 140. Memphis hit them for 129 again. So defensively, they really, really struggled, but they have been able to put together a couple offensive performances. Atlanta hasn't really been good either, though. 2-8 straight up in their last 10 games, and against the spread, 5-5 against the spread in their last 10 games. They have covered 4 of their last 5, though, even though they actually lost 8 in a row before beating Detroit on Sunday. This is the first game back home after a little 3-game road trip for them. So the more I look at the matchup, the more I kind of lean towards the over. You got the total rising. I do think it's going in the right direction. Both of these teams are top 5 in pace last 5 games. Both teams are also bottom 10 defensive rated teams. In my opinion, bringing Fox in only helps the offense and hurts the defense. Even off the jump, like I get it, this is gonna be his first game. I still don't think that would make this San Antonio team play a lot faster. Last 5 games, San Antonio is bottom 5 in opponent transition frequency and dead last in opponent transition efficiency. So Atlanta likes to run. Now that they're down bodies, they're playing faster again. I think they still got enough to be able to score the basketball in this one, especially if they can get hot from the 3-point line like they did against Detroit. San Antonio is not a good 3-point defense. So I'll lean over in this one. Probably just kind of watch it, see where the total goes. But I do think it's more of an over game than an under game for sure. Just based on pace. Both of these teams, like I said, top 5 in pace. The other thing I was looking at, and I want to share this real quick. I'm gonna go over to Outlier real quick. And there is, as I always mention, a link in the description of this video. So if you are interested in checking out Outlier, just click on that link and you can get a 7-day free trial. I'm looking at Mr. Trae Young tomorrow. I mentioned this game being fast-paced. I like Trae to go up and over his assists. Now, you look at the last 10 games, he hasn't been hitting, right? Just 3 of the last 10 games, he's actually going up and over the number. So it's not based off hit rates. Everything can't be based off hit rate. When I looked at Trae, though, he had 16 assists in the first matchup. So that's really good. You can see that he played him twice last year, 14 and 13 assists as well. But outside of that, he had 27 potential assists. You love to see that, right? So you go down here, you can see potential assists. 27 in the last matchup that these two teams played early this season. That game was played the week before Christmas. Outside of the potential assists, I mean, you get CP3 and De'Aaron Fox on the opposite side. Both of those guys probably gonna get cooked. Neither one of them can stay in front of Trae Young. So when I looked at Trae playing bottom 10 teams as far as assists allowed, and teams that were also top 15th in pace, San Antonio's 13th in pace on the full season, Trae's actually going up and over his assist prop at 10.5 in 9 of his 12 games. He's averaging 13.5 assists in this spot. So I like the look for Trae Young, man. I think he's in a really good spot being at home. I do think that he gets to the 12 assists. Just like I said, based off pace, I think this game's going to be played wide open. And I think it's going to be a lot of running, a lot of potential diamonds. So I like Trae Young up and over his assist prop. I've not locked that one in yet. I'll see where the market goes there too. I'm not expecting this to go up to 11.5. So we'll kind of watch the market there. But I like Trae Young up and over his assists as well. Yeah, so that we'll leave it there. Full game over, and Trae Young assists is if I had to play this one. Next game, Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets. I already talked about liking the under here. Now, Brooklyn, of course, can submit their injury report late. Ben Simmons did not play tonight. D'Angelo Russell could potentially not play tomorrow. The Washington Wizards, who knows? They're trying to trade Valanciunas is what I'm reading for Nurkic. So potentially no Valanciunas tomorrow. I think Jordan Poole was questionable in that last game. He ended up playing. He had an illness. Kyle Kuzma's on the trade block, trying to trade him for Middleton, trying to trade him to the Wizards. Like I said, you can just pump the brakes and, worry about these games tomorrow. But I like this one, man. I do think this is an under game. Couple different reasons. So first meeting of the season between the two teams. You got a Wizards team that's actually won back-to-back games. I think they've only won back-to-back games 2 times this season when they beat the Atlanta Hawks back-to-back earlier this season. Before last night, though, they were I'm sorry, no. The Wizards. This is the last of a 3-game road trip for them. The one of their wins, the first one they got, came against Minnesota. They won it with their defense, held Minnesota to like 103 points. And then the second one actually came against Charlotte. Their offense got hot. I just talked about them hitting, I think it was 17 threes against Charlotte the other day. Now, Brooklyn is on the second leg of a back-to-back. But they had 2 days off before tonight's game. They're only 3-7 straight up, 5-5 against the number when they're playing on the second leg of a back. In their last 10 games. They're 8-2 to the under also in their last 10 games. And last night's game or tonight's game, depending on when you're watching the video, did stay under. What is this? 196 points were scored in this game. So now they're 9-1 to the under in their last 10 games. Excuse me, 9-1 to the under in their last 10 games. And if you look at them on the second leg of a back-to-back, they played 9 of them so far, 8-1 to the under this season. Those games are averaging just 211 points. Washington defense has improved, right? A slight improvement. They're the worst defensive team on the full season, but last 5 games they've slipped out of like almost into like middle of the pack. They're 20th in defensive rating last 5 games, and they're also playing slower. They're 12th in pace over the last 5 games and 4th over the full season. So gotta go under here, man. I play under at 218. I do see it dropping to 217 now, 216s as well. This open, let's see, make sure I'm not tripping. Yeah, I'm not 217 right now, but it opened 219, and it is going under. The only thing that scares me even a little bit is Ben Simmons coming back and kind of helping the offense, but Brooklyn can't score. They're one of the worst. I already said what they were offensively. The other thing I think I mentioned about Brooklyn is how good their defense is, and then I'll move over to the next game. But I think I put this in my note. Oh, so Washington, this was the thing. This is the kicker. Washington is actually they have a 99 offensive rating this season versus top 10 defenses in the league. So, I mean, that would give me a lean towards Brooklyn to be able to win the game as well. But I don't think I'm going to put any money on Brooklyn. I don't know if they want to win back-to-back games after upsetting the Houston Rockets tonight. Probably didn't want to win that game, honestly. So, we'll just go under. I will play this. I already played this under. Sent it out to the members at 218, I think is what we got. Yeah, I like under. Brooklyn, actually second best defensive rated team last 5 games as well, giving up just 101 points per game. But offensively, struggle, man. Only averaging 105 points in their last 5 games. Only averaging 105 points at home as well. So I think this is a primetime under game. I like the under, played the under. Next game. Memphis and Toronto. Interesting game. This line open. I saw 6.5. It might have even been 6. And it's moving. Dang it. I do still see a 7 right now, and I think it's moving in the right direction. The total's actually coming down from 243.5 down to 240. Looks like 241.5 on a couple books. I like Memphis tomorrow. I do like Memphis a lot. It's tough right now in this part of the season to want to lay points, especially on the road. You really want teams to actually come to play like they should. But it's a couple reasons why I like Memphis in this spot. First, you look at the injury report. RJ Barrett missed the game tonight against the Knicks. He missed the game because concussion protocol, so probably won't be out there tomorrow either. We'll see what that looks like. My guess is that he doesn't play tomorrow, though. I'm just speculating. And then Jakob Poeltl also left the game. He was dealing with a hip pointer today, just not himself. If he plays tomorrow, I'll probably be looking towards his unders because that's taken him out of the game a couple times now. So if he leaves the game early, or if I'm watching, which I'll probably be watching this game tomorrow, and I see him like doing anything, like he grimacing or got some pain towards his back, I'm gonna be trying live betting this under tomorrow. But without Jakob Poeltl on the floor, we know he's their number one rim protector. He's also one of the best rebounder on the team for this Toronto Raptors team as well. So I want nothing to do with the Toronto Raptors. It's a couple things that actually lend itself towards a Toronto bet. If you look at just how well the Raptors have been playing, they did end up covering tonight against the Knicks. Depending on what number you got, the Knicks ended up winning the game by 6. And this line was kind of all over the place. It was 5.5. It was 5. I think it touched 4. Then RJ Barrett got ruled out and went back up to 6. So just kind of depending on what number you got. But like I said, I really want nothing to do with this Raptors team if they don't have Jakob Poeltl. I think Memphis should be able to get downhill, pretty much score at will. Now, Memphis does have some guys on the injury report as well. Desmond Bane is out with the ankle. He didn't play in the last game. It didn't matter. They still got to win. Brandon Clark is also listed as questionable. John Conchar is listed as questionable. Marcus Smart and Vince Williams have been upgraded to questionable, so they could potentially play in this game. Memphis, for whatever reason, they've kind of like owned the Toronto Raptors as well. They beat them earlier this season. They were actually laying 10.5 points as home favorites the day after Christmas. They beat them by 29. The game did go up and over the total of 241. The last 4 games, I like to see there's a couple venues that are really hard to play in, at least in my opinion. And Toronto can sometimes be one. Sometimes teams do really, really well in Toronto, or they just wet the bed, can't play well in Toronto. The last 4 times that the Grizzlies have traveled to Canada, they're 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread. All 4 of their games have actually gone under. The last 5 times, all 5 have actually gone under, with the Toronto team total staying under as well. So, like I said, you can like the Raptors. There's a couple things that really stood out for me with them. Like I said, they have been playing pretty good basketball. They are 8? They were 8-2 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games before tonight's game. They were 7-3 to the under. But like I said, I don't really like it as much without Jakob Poeltl. I think Memphis should be able to get out, run, even though Toronto has been doing a pretty good job of limiting, fast break points. Memphis should be able to be at the rim as much as they want to be, though. Like, I think they should be able to attack the rim and just get the Toronto Raptors out of here. The Raptors are 6-1-1 against the spread, playing unrested this season. So if you like the Raptors, that is something to like. 6 of their opponents, however, though, have actually gone up and over their team total, and they've allowed 122 points per game in this spot. On the Memphis side, they're 6-2 to the over as well when their opponents is playing on the second leg of a back-to-back, because we know they like to run, including 5 straight overs. And they've gone over their team total in 4 to 5 games in this spot as well, with their opponent being on the second leg of a back-to-back. They're averaging 122 points in this spot. So I like the Raptors. I'm sorry, not the Raptors. I like Memphis tomorrow. The line is moving from 6.5 to, I see 8s right now, but there is still a 7, it looks like, on DraftKings. Probably going to be on the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow. Don't think that RJ Barrett comes back. Don't think that Jakob Poeltl is going to play. If he does, I don't think he'll be 100%. And I do think that we see a Memphis Grizzlies team kind of run tomorrow. But the Grizzlies have been red hot, 9-1 straight up, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games, 7-3 to the over. And they don't play again until Saturday when they host the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I like the Grizzlies tomorrow. Let's see. Was that it, or was it one more? No, that's it. Those are the only ones that I went through. It's a lot more games. Chicago, Minnesota, I don't really have strong opinions. Not laying with the 4-17 home favorite Minnesota Timberwolves. I'll probably be looking towards Chicago in that spot. But if you've been watching this show, you know that I can't stand the Chicago Bulls. So probably a game that I won't bet. Let's see. Phoenix and OKC. KD on the trade block. They got that line open at 6.5. It's up to 12. They closed it ASAP. As soon as KD got listed as doubtful, went to 12. Went to 11. Opened back up at 11. Now it's up to 12 because he probably won't be available tomorrow. Utah OKC, not a game that I really look too deeply into. New Orleans and Denver should be a over spot in my opinion. Even though the total has opened up a little bit lower than the first one. And then Denver, then Orlando and Sacramento. I do think that it's an under spot as well. Orlando just can't score against anybody. I think I had written in my notes that Orlando hasn't scored 100 points since January the 27th, which was like last Monday. So I think 3 straight games they've gone under 100 points. And I know Sacramento is nothing to write home about, defensively, but Orlando, plays super slow. I think they can dictate pace against Sacramento. Not laying 5 with Sacramento. Terrible spot for them coming back home after a 6-game road trip as well. So those are just some other thoughts. I will have a few more plays, but this is the short list for tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and play Memphis. I will lay the 7 with Memphis for tomorrow. So we'll make that red. Let me just double check it, make sure I can still get a 7. And I will play that. Yeah, 7 is still available right now on FanDuel, DraftKings, 8 on Caesars. So yeah, you're probably watching this video late. Hopefully, if you like Memphis, you can still find it. But I will be sending out this Memphis -7 tomorrow. It'll be a smaller play because I'm just kind of checking the injury report and watching, all the dust settle before I place my bets a little bit closer to game time. So Memphis -7 and Washington, Brooklyn under 218 is what I'll have for this video. Yeah, and I think that's it. Like I said, the Cleveland Detroit first half is not available quite yet. Miami minus the 1.5 I think is the right side. Will I get there? Probably not. San Antonio and Atlanta up and over the total. Trae Young up and over his assists I think is a good look as well. These are the looks that I identified as being profitable tomorrow. I'll have 2 looks for sure, and then I'll go through player props as I get a little more time in the morning and solidify the card a little bit closer to game time. So that's the show, man. Resources, I talked about all of them. I've used them throughout the show. Check out jaXon if you're interested. The link for jaXon is in the description of the video. It's a 50% discount code. Same thing for Outlier, but it's a 7-day free trial if you're interested. MoneyBaller, 50% off over there as well. And always check out OddsJam. I use that sportsbook screen page. Live odds update on the second almost. So love OddsJam. In the screen page that they have over there, sportsbook screen page. So that's the show. Like I always say, I hope it was helpful. We'll be back live on Friday. Hopefully I'll have time to make another video tomorrow. Appreciate everybody for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Enjoy your Wednesday, man. I'm out.